Fighting games! What is a fighting game? Well, we're gonna break it down for you, starting with three main parts. And that firstly starts with a restriction of your movement. Typically, these games are on a 2D plane, and sometimes they restrict your actions to a certain set of actions, which actually leads into the next most important part, combos / special moves. And that actually leads to another very important part. That is, that you'll have to counter these combos and you will have to try to fight for advantage. This genre goes all the way back to 1976 with heavyweight boxing. And funnily enough, this game was kind of gimmicky. You fought on a 2D plane in black and white with a controller that could go up and down to represent a high strike or a low strike against each other. Obviously supposed to represent boxing gloves as controls. Sega developed this. It was a semi-successful arcade game for a long time. Even got a remake. But the real and true foundational game for fighting games and what would pave the way to what they would become is in 1984 with a game called Karate Champ. It was on a 2D plane, it was 1v1, it gave you a variety of punches, and it had twin stick controls to control them. Subsequently, of course, lots and lots of games started pouring into this. None would be quite as revolutionary as most iconic game, Street Fighter II. This game actually did introduce combos and special moves, and not only that, it had tons of stages, tons of characters. It was beautifully done. It was just an extraordinary hit. And Street Fighter II was the cause of what is considered golden age of fighting games throughout the 90s. Of course, as time goes on and technology improves, we get fighting games in the 3D space, starting with 1993's Virtua Fighter. It was the first game to do the 3D fighting space, but it still locked you into kind of a 2D thing, but it had a rotating camera that would still follow the action in a 3D environment. And not only that, it got rid of the complexity of Street Fighter and its contemporaries, dropping from the 6 buttons required to input and create combos to just 4, simplifying and bringing in a wider audience due to this. And after that, obviously, like I said, this was the golden age for fighting games, and they were trying out everything, and so many great games come out of this era. They started to do massive collaborations, like in 1999, SNK and Capcom smashed together to make one total game. The rise of esports happens, and fighting games probably have the most iconic moment in all of esports history with Evo Moment 37, of course. And soon after that, Dead or Alive gets onto television for the first time, and they broadcast these fighting tournaments in esports. And following this momentum, fighting games take to the internet, like many others did in 2004 to showcase the new features of online battles. The 3 first fighting games to come online being Mortal Kombat Deception, Dead or Alive Ultimate, and Street Fighter Anniversary. Fighting games splitting off into a bunch of subgenres, which we might talk about later. One of them would revitalize the fighting genre like nothing other before it, and it was a platform fighter called Super Smash Bros. Brawl! Hopefully we'll go over more of these subgenres in a later video. But what's your favorite fighting game of all time? As always, thanks for watching.